right there. Before you go any further with this video, you need to know that this review is filled with spoilers. Like, I'm talking about story spoilers. The biggest spoilers in the history of spoiler ever. So if you have any desire to ever play Portal 2, don't watch this video until you finish the game. If you're looking for a recommendation, I fully recommend Portal 2. It's a great game, great puzzle game with amazing dialogue. You'll love it. But if you're here and you've already beat Portal 2 and you're looking for an opinion, then we'll go ahead and get to that. But again, this is your last spoiler warning. This video, tons of spoilers. Portal 2. Now, I know a lot of people out there didn't play the first Portal, and that's totally fine. It kind of slipped under the radar for some people. But Portal is this just complete, like, crazy puzzle game that deals with portals and different dimensions. It really requires you to think outside the box. So when Portal 2 was coming out, of course I was excited because I loved Portal 1, but I was a little bit kind of iffy on how exactly are they going to make a full game, $60 worth game, exciting from beginning to end with just portals and being in like this testing chamber. But Portal 2 did it. They did a great job of keeping me on my toes, keeping, the fact that I'm portaling and using these different goos and everything, keeping that extremely interesting and difficult. But there were so many different puzzles that, took me 15 minutes to figure it out. When I figured it out, I felt like the biggest idiot. I was like, really? That wasn't nearly as hard as I thought it was going to be. And when you do figure it out, it seems really easy. But they are difficult. Not difficult enough to where I think you're going to want to give up, but difficult enough to keep you really into the game extremely deep. My favorite thing about Portal 2 is definitely the dialogue. Some of the best dialogue I've seen or heard in a video game. It's witty, it's funny. I mean, GLaDOS, she was so mean. Every chance she got, she was calling me fat or stupid or my parents didn't want me, and it was pretty brutal, but it was awesome. Because you also had your little sidekick companion named Wheatley, who was hilarious. A little stupid, a little uppity, and but he was so adorable and so lovable. But that was one thing I also didn't like. I knew basically right off the bat exactly how the game was going to go. If you don't believe me, check my Twitter. I twittered about it before I even beat the game. They were pushing Wheatley to be so adorable and so cute and so lovable. I knew right away that the guy was going to turn on us. I knew he was going to become an asshole, and that, me and GLaDOS were going to be working together. Because it made it obvious. I was a little actually stunned following a lot of people on Twitter, and they were all like, oh my god, this is like a really huge twist in the story of Portal 2, and when I got to it, I was like, I saw that coming from, like, Chapter 2. I saw that coming. So it wasn't that big of a twist. Maybe, I think a lot of times Twitter and Facebook status updates can kind of ruin stuff like that. Like, everybody was talking about the ending. So by the time I got to the ending, I was expecting this amazing, oh my god moment, and I didn't get it. I was just kind of like, okay, we portaled to the moon. We didn't get to play on the moon. That would have been awesome. We didn't get to do anything on the moon. We portaled to the moon in a cutscene. Alright, cool. I really didn't care about it. It didn't really shock me. It wasn't anything crazy or big, so the ending was disappointing, especially on Twitter, how everybody was saying it was like the best ending ever. No, it wasn't. Portal 2's environments were extremely interesting. I mean, this whole time you are in like this testing laboratory, but they kept it changing so much I never got tired of it. Like, at the beginning, we were in the testing chamber from Portal 1, but it was all kind of like run down, hadn't been upkept, and it was just kind of dingy, which was awesome. But then once GLaDOS got everything going and everything was pretty and sparkly and looking like an Apple store again, at first I was like, I really hope they change this up. Because I'm only like, 5 or 6 tests into the nice new testing laboratories, and I was already kind of getting a little bored with it, a little repetitive. And as soon as I started feeling that scenery was repetitive, they just completely took everything I already knew about Portal and changed it. And that's like when you were going, you escaped with Wheatley and everything, and that was really, really cool. It almost felt like a different game. I was still using portals, but now I was using, they were slowly introducing these new gels, like the repulsion gel and everything, and that was just, the incorporation of all of that was really refreshing to the gameplay over and over again. So it never got stale or old to me. Controls were great. Collision, not so great, but I think that's a downfall to a lot of FPSs. You're looking straight, not down. You can easily, accidentally run into a railing and get stuck on it on a door frame. So, yeah, controls definitely felt good. Collision got a little annoying at times. Graphics were really good, but I'm very big on detail, and I pay a lot of attention to detail. And I'll even just walk around a room going up to, the walls and looking at detail. And, there was a lot of lack of detail in the environments, which was a little disappointing. At times, things looked like they were meant to be photorealistic, but then again, they looked like they were meant to be cartoonish. So that kind of added this strange, mixture of styles, which ended up being something I liked. But at first, I was like, okay, what kind of style are they going for here? Because it's not photorealistic, but it's not cartoonish. It's like a weird blend. I did see some just lazy artwork. I'm not talking about the graffiti on the walls, but just some they cut some corners in the graphics, but that's fine, because as you know with me, I'm not a huge graphics whore. The game's got to be a solid game first, before I start thinking about if it's going to be a bad game because of graphics. Graphics don't make a bad game. Bad gameplay make a bad game. Overall, Portal 2, excellent game, whether you played the first one or not. If you didn't play the first one, I suggest going to go play it before you play Portal 2. But if you haven't played Portal 2 yet, why are you still watching this video? I just completely spoiled everything for you. Shame on you. But if you haven't played Portal 1, and even if you've already beat Portal 2, go back and play Portal 1, because it's really good as well. I would say it's not as good as Portal 2 now, but it's still something we had never seen before, and it's still a game that's always going to be awesome. Like you guys, I'm extremely excited for some DLC, any DLC for Portal. I'm not quite sure where it's going to fit in with the story, but, maybe it'll add a whole different type of level, or maybe it'll be more co-op levels. Oh, I haven't talked about the co-op. The co-op is probably one of my favorite parts of the game. I love the single player, I love the story mode, but there's just something I'm loving about the co-op. I haven't completely finished it. I have one more chamber to go, and it's so seamless. And being able to play with a co-op partner and the interactions, you can play paper, rock, scissors with them, or you can do the robot with them, and yeah, that was my impression of the robot. Terrible, I know. But the co-op is definitely pretty solid. I love it. It's probably my favorite part of the game. In co-op, you can do everything you can do in single player. You get the different gels. Of course, you can portal around. And there's just so many, little cute, fun Easter eggs and dialogue in the co-op and in the single player, but more in the single player, that just gives the game more personality than most video games have. Portal 2 just is dripping with this awesome personality, and I think a lot of it is because of GLaDOS and Wheatley. Both of their personalities were so strong and so different, and since the script was written really well and the dialogue was amazing, it just came together and created this awesome game. I loved it. I thought it was great. A lot of people are giving it perfect scores and 10s out of 10s. Wouldn't give it a 10 out of 10. I'd give it a 9 out of a 10. Because it was innovative, it was unique, it was creative, everything I've been asking for. But even though I had a great time with it and I loved it and I'm looking forward to playing through the single player again, there just wasn't that complete wow factor. I think a lot of people are judging it on how much fun or how much fun the dialogue was and how much personality it has. It does have all that. But as a whole, the game just wasn't a 10 to me. It's still a 9. I'm not saying it's bad at all, so you don't have to get pissed if I don't give it a 10. But it just wasn't that home run for me. But close. Very close. Well, guys, thanks for watching my Portal 2 review. Let me know what you thought, what you liked about the game, and what were some of your favorite parts. Put it down in the comment section. And I actually need some more co-op partners because I'm trying to get the Hug 3 co-op partners achievement, which I need to work on a little bit more. So yeah, add me on Xbox Live. My name is just Rachel. So add me on there and we can get our hug on. As always, thanks for watching and love ya.